The markets are back rising in a bullish nature. Is this a trap or are we continuing back to all-time highs? Let me know down below in the comments. We'll go over it all today. Some quick things. We've got our big financial earnings that have reported. We've got UNH, right? Unfortunately, after the CEO's killing, how will they perform? They've been rising off of the drop below $500. So will we see it back to 600 plus after their earnings, or are they coming back down? We'll talk about it today, as well as our CPI and PPI inflation data reports just came out, and they came in a little bit softer, came in really, really nice, which the market liked. But does that warrant more rate cuts? Because if people aren't excited for more and more rate cuts, then, hey, this might be a trap and we could continue us along this downward trend that we have been on. So let's pay attention this week. We have the inauguration coming up next week. It's going to be very important for everyone to follow along and be nimble, be flexible, understanding that the market can go both ways. It's been very, very volatile. So if you're not inside of a community or you don't have proper guidance on how you're day trading or trading, especially also for my long-term investors, if you're watching your portfolio go up and down and up and down, and you're just not wondering, you're not confident, right, in what you should do. And this is not financial advice, but hey, maybe you can understand exactly how to make better decisions for yourself or talking with your professional that you're getting financial advice from. All right. Without further ado, my name is Dr. B. I'm a holistic life and business coach and strategist for entrepreneurs and thought leaders, also a trader. An investor, have been trading in the financial markets actively for the last 6 years. I've been investing over a decade, just buying little shares here or there. Folks didn't know what they were doing. I owned an Apple share back in, 2010 or '08 or 2000, whatever. I got passed down my my fortune for some of you. All right. I don't have that ability. Anyways, I would love to have you join our community. If you do not have a community, I'm going to go ahead and let you know that you can join Leverage University. That is where we have our trading floor and our life and business coaching as well. And if you need personal support, also, if you're just like, hey, Brian, I want to support the channel. You've been given so much value. I want these videos to come. I'd just like to send you a little something. And you also want to join a community of thought leaders. Join our Thought Leader Hub. All right. It's about $1 a day. If you pay the $30 a month, we'd love to have you there. You get some trade ideas. You get to be involved in the community. I pop up periodically to do some trainings live inside of our Discord. And it's very, very active. But here is where our most popular is, because you get everything, the Thought Leader Hub, plus our university, our trainings, our live trading, everything. And then if you want more touch base, you need a private chat, you want to directly message myself in a private chat, or if you want to jump on a couple of Zoom calls privately for a period of time, a couple of months, we have our mentorship that you can join, whether that's life, you need to get your business set up, you need looking how to trade and how to get started, how to get your chart set up, all those things that get you started off properly going into 2025. We're just in the second week, so there's still time to make sure you start off on the right path. Love to have you inside. Without further ado, let's jump into the charts. Okay, the charts. Now, some of you are still not getting the charts, and that is okay. That is perfectly fine. I get it. They can be confusing. It looks like a bunch of lines. So what I like to do, if you haven't watched any of my videos before, please go check out some of my training videos. You've been a lot of good support and feedback from those. I appreciate you so much. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you an idea of where the market can go on both sides. I'm going to give you a bullish scenario and a bearish scenario. Okay. So let's be clear here. Let's talk about the first bullet point, which is going to be the CPI and PPI data reports, our consumer price index and our producer price index. How much are these goods still costing the consumers and also the businesses, the suppliers? And we know you only had to look at the data. Okay. They are still high. All right. Your groceries are still high, your gas, and you might see a little bit of wiggle room here or there, but it's still hitting people's pockets. Okay. So our inflation is still rising. However, it's coming in softer. And when we're slowing and we're coming in softer, the Fed might be a little bit hesitant about doing either or, meaning rate cuts aggressively, or there've been talk of the town that there may be a rate hike, right? And these rate cuts are already priced in leading into the summer of 2025. So if that is the case, if we don't have any activity from the Fed and they're just pausing and then just waiting on more data, that is potentially a bullish signal, but it could be, hey, I don't have much confidence in what the Fed is trying to do. They're not cutting more. We don't know what they're doing. So we could continue on this downtrend. All right. So I like to keep it very simple here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, as always, for those that have been watching me for a while, our fear and greed index. Okay. We're still sitting in a fearful state. All that means is that people are keeping their head on a swivel, as I like to say, a little bit of caution coming into the inauguration, as well as some of these tech companies that have been at all-time highs. People are just trimming their profits, trimming some fat with a lot of uncertainty coming on, especially Trump's tariffs, what the new cabinet is going to look like, what new initiatives are going to be in place. Are we going to war? Like what's going to happen? All right. So we're still in a fearful state, but the fear and greed index does not lie majority of the time. Okay. Meaning that as long as we're in extreme fear or fearful states, that is a time where you want to look at buying opportunities. Now, does that mean buying opportunities on every stock if they're at all-time highs? Not necessarily, but it could mean buying opportunities for stocks that have been beaten down for the entirety of the year, such as some of our healthcare stocks, some of the stocks like AMD in the semiconductor sector that have been beat down that are at good buy zones. All right. Even for some, you may be saying, well, I consider NVIDIA a good buy zone at 130. Yeah, okay, that's fine if you consider that. I'd love it back closer to the 100, 110, 115 mark, if possible, if we can get that downward trend. But dollar cost average into solid companies, but we are getting a little bit heavy at the top. All right, so fear, extreme fear, you want to think buy. Let's keep it simple. All right, let's get off of here. And let's go into the charts. And a couple things before we go into the charts, I want you to pay attention to if you're taking notes this week and you're trading this week. We have options expiration, OPEX, coming up this Friday. All that means, Brian, what does that mean? Does that mean options are expiring? I don't understand that. Just go look it up. Okay, go look it up. I may have a video. If you're inside of Leverage University, I already have a video on it. But all it means is that typically people are offloading a lot of their contracts that they've been carrying on for a couple of months. And this 17th date allows people to, it's just more activity on those options contracts. Okay. Now, OPEX or this day, my experience on trading OPEX days is typically there's a lot of profit taking going into OPEX. So people are taking their profits. So if we're riding the wave up, I'll show you on the charts in just a second, then what do you think possibly could happen by the end of this week heading into inauguration? That's where my sentiment is. Maybe this could be a trap, right? Bulls step back in. Everyone gets caught buying. Oh man, we're back. And we get knocked back down again. Okay. So keep that sentiment in mind until we break some key levels that I'm about to show you right now. All right. So SPY. All right. So if I go on a daily chart on SPY, you can still see that we're on a downward trend, lower highs. Okay. Look at this, lower high, lower high, lower high. And guess what? We're coming back up into a range of another lower high. And you see that there was some profit taking towards the end of the day right here on that wick at about 593 and some change. Okay. We try to tick up above 594. That is ES, the futures of the S&P 6,000. Okay. So that's a very key level. Mark that on your charts, 594. If we break above 594, we can squeeze or push into this 597. Okay. Now that level right there is going to be very key because if for whatever reason, right, we push up into here, not for whatever reason, but if we push up into here, that is a heavy, heavy level of 597 of sellers ready to potentially short again. Right here, there's a previous support. There's an aggression right there. There's more sellers and aggression right there. So just say a green candle comes right up into 597. All right. So if I see a green candle up there like that, I'm going to be a little bit more cautionary about chasing this because we could rip right back down. Okay. You see what happened before? Came up, ripped back down. Came up, thought we were going higher, ripped back down lower. Came up. Now, is this the move where we rip down further into inauguration? And then after the inauguration, we settle back in potentially. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but just say we hold these support levels Now we settle in, consolidate, and rip right back up. Okay. So I've got that 597 on watch as well as 594. Those are my two levels on SPY that I really want to pay attention to going into Thursday, tomorrow at the time of this recording, as well as into Friday. I like the downside still, even though we're in fear, because we have not changed trend on a higher time frame of a weekly and a daily. All right. Pay attention to those two levels. Okay. Now, a support level that you want to see hold would be this 589, 590. If you see a failure back below 589, you can take puts confidently down back into this gap fill of 585. Okay. So it would look something like this. Maybe we pop and then it starts coming down, coming down, coming down. Maybe you wait and you see it below that 589. Okay. Then guess what? You can take it, break, retest, and take it down like this. Okay. So do not jump the gun too soon. There's about 3 trades that you can take. Okay. You've got about a $3 to $4 window, break of 594. I really don't like the risk to reward because we've already, went from 576 to 597. Okay. So we are up almost 4 or 5% in 4 days if we get up there, and we could pull back like this. All right. So that is what I've got on my watch. I love the setup here. I like what it's presenting. We just need to be patient and watch out for those levels. 594 break. And we've got some earnings coming in tomorrow, which is UNH, which I'll talk about in a second, which is going to have a big impact on, as well as TSM in the semiconductor sector. So very key tomorrow to watch. Is going to be very indicative of what the market does. Let's go to QQQ. Okay. A level, I've got my pivot point here. Same thing as that 594 on SPY. Pivot point right about 520. If we get up to 520, you see that there's a key level of support, resistance, right in this 519, 520 level. If we can't get above 520 and the market starts to roll back over again like this, right, then cool. We can take it back down if we see a failure back underneath 515. So you want to mark 515 as your support right now, with room all the way up back to 523. Okay. So I want to watch this 523 area as my bigger area of resistance. Okay. 523. And then the pivot point being right here at the 520. All right. Now, if semiconductors, if TSM comes in really good, so pay attention tomorrow on TSM. If TSM comes in really nice on their earnings, then that could rip all the semiconductors, which will be NVIDIA, AMD, MU, ARM, so on and so forth. And we could get QQQ running if that happens, okay? And the market running if the semiconductor sector steps up, all right? So those are your levels there. Support 515, pivot point above 520, can take it to 523, but the higher it goes, be mindful, this is still a lower high. You need it to really clear 526, in my opinion. I'd be more comfortable, if it clears up like this, okay, to really get a breakout. Then I can take a break, retest that level like that, and then take it up, okay? It look like that, all right? We need to break out of this downtrend to confirm. IWM. Clean level here on IWM. It's been trading really nicely in the community and in live trading. We've been, pretty much doing really well with IWM as of late because there's a very key level of resistance right here, 526. So as long as it's below 526, it might try to retest it one more time. If you see here, right? Tries to retest it, forms a lower high. It's relatively weak still. And then it could continue and fill this gap down like that, okay? So watch IWM back to 220 if the market gets a little bit weak, but watch this pivot point of 222. There's still a little bit of activity right here at 222, okay? So just know that there's still high. The risk to reward is on the downside on IWM right now, okay? So that means puts for those people that are not in the community and you're trying to figure out what's going on, okay? So again, quick pause. If you still want to learn how to read these charts, You want guidance. You want to be in live trading. You want to understand. You want to have some trainings so you know how, like when to play puts, meaning ride the wave down, when to play calls, meaning go up. All right. When to buy shares, things of that nature, what to look for, how to get these gaps on your charts, all those things. Remember, join Leverage University. All right. Let's join a couple of quick stocks and then I'll get up out of here. All right. Apple been fairly weak comparative to the market. Still needs to clear 240, 241. So what I'm watching for is Apple still in this downtrend. And personally, if it can't clear above this 241, if it fills that gap, I'm still looking at Apple as a key resistance right here for it to come back down. So if it pushes up into here like that, okay, I personally do not want to chase this $2 move with all when Apple's been fairly weak. So I want to actually look at resistance here and puts right back down. So the higher it pushes, I actually want to look for puts right back down on Apple if it cannot clear above 243. Okay. There's still, you see these resistances right here, 240, 243, 243, and then this 242, 241 and some change where it gapped down right here. So this could just be a little bit of retracement and then wants to come lower. Okay. So just be on watch for that. That would equate to what SPY might do. So if I see SPY pushed up into this level, and then I see also Apple, same thing. If I have my charts up like this and I see SPY up here, okay, higher, 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 and then I see Apple higher, higher, higher up there, I would want to trade that put back down personally. Okay. So it would look something like this if it keeps going a little bit higher up into that wedge and then trade that back down for puts off of that 240, 241 level. Okay. So watch out for Apple pushing up back into resistance. It's been fairly weak. Okay. It's all indicative of what some of these earnings come out and do and how their responses are. All right. Tesla, my Tesla bulls, looks like a clear bull flag on Tesla. Okay. Clear bull flag personally. It's broken out of this downtrend here. And it wants to retest some of these highs, potentially back to all depends on the market, but Tesla moves on its own accord. Okay. So it could try to be retesting this 250 level. Okay. It's broken out of this previous high right here of 230. Let's give me 426. Where am I getting 230 from? Talking about Apple still. If the market gets strong and Bitcoin gets strong, crypto continues the strength, right, into Friday, we could see something like this on Tesla. So watch out for that 450 retesting again, okay, and see if Tesla can, retest the high and rotate, but also indicative of what QQQ and SPY are going to be doing if Tesla can get that strength. All right. Amazon still in this little consolidation here. Still haven't traded Amazon in a while because I needed to get out of this. Is this a bull flag? Is it going to break down? Like I'll start trading it once it kind of gets out of this like consolidation, whatever it's doing. All right. Same thing with Google. It does have a clear resistance here with a lot of room to the downside. So if the market gets weak, I do want to watch Google. It did have some positive AI news with Gemini today. So that's why Google was really, really strong. It gapped up off of 190 and then went right to 197. Microsoft, I haven't traded Microsoft in forever personally. This right here, something's got to happen. Like you got to get out of this right here. But that means it's consolidating for a big breakout move one way or the other. It's been doing this range here from 420 to, pretty much 450. All right. NVIDIA still holding. Their bulls are protecting their level. You can see here that it's in this consolidation. Is this a rising wedge? And it's all indicative of TSM. So if TSM's earnings are really good, you want to watch NVIDIA back above 141, ideally 142. Okay. So just be mindful that there's sellers, heavy sellers still present on NVIDIA because look at these big rejections, big rejection. And what if this pushes back up into 141 again and gets rejected? So when I see heavy selling continuously up in these ranges, It's not that I'm not bullish on a stock like NVIDIA. It's just they're heavy up here, right? The rejections are massive, right? Pushes up. Look at this candle right here, right? If this gap fills, there's still resistance right here. This could get knocked right back down. So it's got to cleanly clear above there. So if you want to play calls and you're like, hey, I want to play calls on NVIDIA, like it's strong, you got to be mindful of where the resistance is. So if you break above 137 on NVIDIA, then yeah, gap fill, it could squeeze all the way up into 141. Take your calls. But you want to be mindful that you got to take this into consideration at 141.50. That is where you want to take your profit because, yes, it could run all the way back up here. Cool. But you needed to clear above 142. All right. And when I say confidently, typically it's at least 30 minutes into the market, potentially an hour into the market if you see NVIDIA above 142. I know I had some questions from my clients about that. What do you mean clear confidently, right? That's what you mean. The longer the market is open, you want to see it above or below those levels. It makes it more confident. Okay. AMD, same thing. It's all indicative of TSM. If TSM earnings is good, AMD could be all the way back up here at 127. And now we're starting to rotate, right? A severely oversold level of AMD, starting to get some buyers down here at this 115 level. It could rotate right back up and we're ready to go. Okay. So we're already picking up AMD L shares. Okay. The leverage version of AMD. If I show you right here, AMDL. Okay. About $6-7. If you want to grab it, anywhere in the sixes, if it falls lower, I think that's a great opportunity for shares. If you want to grab long-term leaps on AMD, AMDL is a really good option. Okay. But if you are a true AMD person and you want to spend a bunch of money here, you're more than welcome to do that. But AMD, in my opinion, I think it's going to get knocked down again, in my opinion. I really want AMD down in the 105 to 110 range. One more big push, and I'm ready to load the boat there on AMD closer to 105 to 110. That's just my range, but I'm already starting to pick up some right now. All right. TSM, here we go. If they have great earnings, you will see TSM back above 210. Okay. If they have great earnings, you will see TSM back above 210, and it could try to retest 220. Okay. If they have poor earnings, we could see TSM, or their earnings don't come in as great as people think. Then this trend could break and we could be right back down here like this. Okay. So let's pay attention. This is going to be effective of NVIDIA, AMD, and all the semiconductors. So that's what you want to pay attention to on tomorrow. Okay. Palantir still trending its way upwards, but it could be a little trap and a fake out. It could come right back down. All right. So still like Palantir a lot lower. My level on Palantir is in mid 50s, and potentially if we get some kind of bearish sentiment whenever that happens during 2025, I like it back down to 30 and 40. All right. I'll wrap it up here with a couple of other names and I'll let you go. Let me see if Bitcoin back below 100. Just going on a couple of stocks, and I'll jump into, I think I went over NVIDIA, AMD. Okay. Yeah. Let's jump into these. We cannot forget some of these quantum computing stocks. Okay. Ionic, 33% on the day. We've got Ionic shares, but great buy up there off of this 25 level. It dropped to roughly 50%. It was oversold. People picked Ionic right back up. Same thing is RG TI. Same thing here. I think these are great buys. If you can get one more little pullback here, I think it's even better around, underneath $10 on RGTI. If you can grab it underneath $10, if you don't already have it underneath there, which a lot of folks already do, back at, below $5, $2, $3, $4, $5. All right. So pay attention to that. QBTS. Okay. Same thing, same kind of chart. Came down to $3 and some change. It's at 5. The high was at 11. So it's about 50% off the highs right now. I think these are great buys. Again, if it can fall one more time here and roll back over, fill some of these gaps, but I think it's pretty much ready to go. It could have another spurt. So Pay attention to these quantum computing stocks. All right. We called these out a while back. I've got a whole YouTube video about Ionic at $7. So I think it's a great buy still. Okay. Still do your due diligence and research on it. But amazing. Look at these contracts, like 1,000% today. Like, good, my goodness. Oh man, 1,000% on your money. All right, let's jump into crypto and then I'll have you out of here. I think we're ready to go. So the whole purpose of this video is just to prepare you for the remainder of the week so you can trade safe and responsibly and prepare for the following week and get a sentiment of the markets. Hopefully this has helped you to see the traps that might be waiting for a lot of people. Please do not fall into them. Wait for your levels to clear. Trade level to level. The market is very, very volatile. There's a lot of wide ranges, so you need to size down and take your profits potentially a little bit faster. All right. Bitcoin, 100,000 again. What is it going to do? Still, this is interesting as well. Like, is that just a lower high? Another lower high. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. Ethereum, is this just another lower high? Right there. Right. To come lower. So that's interesting. Dogecoin. Right. Is that another lower high? Same thing. Right. Obviously, when you're trying to calculate, I had a good question today from someone in live trading today saying, Brian, how do you know when it's a bull flag and when it's a lower high? Well, you can't. Yes, it can be a bull flag. This could easily be a bull flag and then retest the high and take it out. Right. Same thing with Bitcoin. Right. It's all indicative of the inauguration, how the response of the world is, and essentially how confident people are in saying, hey, I'm willing to put more money right now. Okay. Otherwise, it could be just a lower high and reject and come down. Right. Very similar to what you see here on Solana when it was coming down. Oh, bull flag. Nope. Reject. Right. So that's the thing that you have to pay attention to. And I personally like when there's gaps that can show me that there may be a little bit of a lower high that's forming if there's gaps below. These gaps don't always have to get filled right away, but they will get filled. So either we're going to come higher and form a bigger lower high, something like this potentially, back up into 300. So watch Coinbase at 300. If it's below 300, it could just be a lower high and we could reject again. Okay. So I do want to watch that 300 level and 275, very heavy here as well. Okay. You see that right there. Rejection at 280, roughly 275, 280. There's 273 and it's sitting right there again. So look at this. There's a gap right there. So what if Coinbase pulls all the way back here like that leading into Friday and the inauguration? People just taking some profits off the table so they can buy it back up once the inauguration is finished, right? Drive the price down, scare some people out a little bit more, and then pick it up on a dip and ride it right back up. I'd love to see that actually personally. Okay. Same thing on all crypto names. CleanSpark, pull back one more time. Mara, pull back one more time. And you can see these will still form higher lows. Look at that on that trend line on Mara, right? Even if this pulls back and fills this gap, that's a higher low. Take off, right? Said I would be done. Let's just check on these earnings because these post earnings are still available here for you, meaning JP Morgan reported really well, continued higher. Now do people take their profits and we come back down? Finance is going to be very indicative of SPY as well. So if finance starts cooling off, right? If Goldman Sachs starts cooling off right here, that's going to be SPY pulling back pretty heavy. Okay, so pay attention to finance. Very clearly look at Wells Fargo. Same thing. If it starts pulling back pretty heavily over the next week, it doesn't have to happen today, but it could be over the next week or so. If finance pulls back just a little bit and some profit taking, right? Visa, same thing. Gap below. Pay attention to the finance sector because that will be SPY coming back down pretty drastically. All right. So put those on your charts. Put some notifications on if finance is pulling back. If you see finance red or any of them start, pulling back pretty heavy. American Express, same thing. I love actually all these gaps personally. Bank of America probably looks the best because it's Bank of Robinhood, man, breaking out again. Man, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Man, Target. Interesting. All right, everybody. Peace, love, and blessings to you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Until next time, make sure you click that like button, the subscribe button, turn on those notifications, share this video out with anybody that you think will benefit from it. Make sure you join Leverage University, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.